Hello everyone, my name is Shane and I'm here to review Liverpool's match against Real Madrid yesterday evening. Whew, where to start? Oh, it was a capitulation from the mighty Reds. I was so excited in the lead up to this match, the same as every other Liverpool fan. I thought it was an opportunity to rescue a bad season. But now, I suppose we'll have to say it's a season gone from bad to worse. Anyway, about 8 out of the 11 Liverpool starters last night had an off night. I'm not one for criticising any of our players, as they have given me an incredible ride and journey throughout the last 4 or 5 years, with always something to look forward to at the end of each season. But last night for me, it looked like that this incredible run that we've been on as a team and fans is coming to an end. Some people were saying before the game that this current Real Madrid side was aging. Didn't look like it to me. I mean, what a performance without my Liverpool hat on. I mean, goodness gracious me. Kroos and Madrid look like two young fellas in the midfield. They ran the show, and needless to say, they played in their mate a couple of times. Vinicius Jr., who had an absolute stormer of a game, he came of age and scored two wonderful goals, really, especially the first one. What a pass from Toni Kroos. It totally, unfortunately, cut out Nat Phillips and Trent Alexander-Arnold. As much as it hurts me to say it, it was a tremendous goal and a well taken one by Vinicius Jr. right into the bottom corner of Alisson Becker's net. And that was just the start of it, unfortunately. Just before half time, it might have been 10 minutes beforehand by right, another ball was played in over the top by Toni Kroos, which once again caught out poor Trent Alexander-Arnold. He thought he was heading the ball back to his goalkeeper, Alisson Becker, but unfortunately the ball just found Asensio, where he just walked the ball into the net, and that was 2-0. Liverpool's capitulation continued in a horrible first half. In my view, it was unwatchable from a Liverpool fan's point of view, as all you could see was white shirts piling forward, attacking the Liverpool defence. To put it in simple terms, and wearing us down and cutting us to shreds. And to back up my point, Liverpool hadn't a shot in the first half. Not to mind a shot on target, they hadn't a shot. Like, how can you comprehend that as a Liverpool fan who's watched basically this team sweep all before them the last 3 years? It's not comprehensible. It's sad. it could well be the end of an era. But anyway, and to sum up Jurgen Klopp's mood, he took Naby Keita off 3 or 4 minutes before a half time. What was the point in that? What difference was that going to make? Was he trying to say something to the starting 11 that was on the field? It hardly was going to improve morale in the dressing room at half time, for goodness sake. Most of them just seem to have an off night, and I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, especially after Saturday. It's baffling. It's just really, really, really sad. But anyway, after the break, Liverpool played well for 10 minutes. We got a goal. Wijnaldum went on a brilliant solo run through the Real Madrid defence, found Diego Jota, and he in turn found Salah, and he ruthlessly buried the ball into the net. And I thought, come on, it's game on. But unfortunately that didn't prove to be either. For the next maybe 5 minutes after that, Liverpool could have equalised. They did a few balls into the box which could have found Sadio Mane, but it wasn't to be. Few crucial intersections at the back from Real Madrid worked well for them. And then Real Madrid just upped at another level, and cut us to shreds again a few more times. And by the way, as bad as poor Trent Alexander-Arnold was on the evening, he made a crucial interception, during the second half, where a Real Madrid counter-attack occurred, and only for Trent it could have been another goal. Really, it could have been 6 or 7, 2 to Real Madrid. It was that bad a performance. I'm struggling to come up with a word here to describe Liverpool's display last night, and I'm not going to say it was insipid. No chance. That's too harsh a word, really. But it did have shades of that 7-2 defeat to Aston Villa, who we ironically play at the weekend. Cheer us all up. And right, on to Real Madrid's third goal, which came from a throw-in. Lovely intricate play around the Liverpool box. Once again, found Vinicius Junior. He came of age last night, by the way. He was tremendous, absolutely brilliant. And he took it first time, the shot first time past Alisson Becker, and unfortunately a shot that he usually keeps out, he let in last night, and that just summed up Liverpool's evening. Right, and unless we win by 2-0 next week at Anfield, we're out, because I can see Real Madrid scoring, and I think we're going to have to win 4-1 if they do on the night, and that's just not going to happen. For a team's form that has been desperate at Anfield since Christmas time. They've had 6 defeats in a row to teams including Burnley, Brighton, Fulham and Everton. With all due respect to those teams, Liverpool should be beating them in their sleep. Instead, in each of those games, Liverpool have only had a couple of shots on target, and other than that, were non-existent. And dare I say, the games were really unwatchable from a Liverpool fan's point of view. And the other 2 defeats came against Manchester City and Chelsea, which were a lot more acceptable for obvious reasons. And they were both the better teams on the 2 occasions. Other than that, Liverpool have scraped draws against Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion since Christmas time. And yeah, that's all there is to write home about, I'm afraid. But we have had decent performances away in London since the turn of the year, against Spurs and West Ham, and most recently against Arsenal last Saturday evening, which makes Liverpool's bad form all the more baffling. And I think at this stage we'd be lucky to get into the top 4, and that hurts, considering all the joy we've had as fans in the last 5 seasons, really. We've had something to look forward to at the end of each season. As I said, this run is unfortunately going to come to an end unless a miracle happens at Anfield this week. And yes, Liverpool have been unlucky a few times this season. We'd say for the grand total of 6 points. Against Everton at Goodison, we should have won the match, hands down. So Sadio Mane was onside, and therefore Jordan Henderson's goal should have counted. Liverpool's game at the Amex against Brighton, the Brighton penalty was never a penalty. Andy Robertson never even seen Welbeck coming. Unfortunately, touched him ever so slight that Welbeck went off for a walk for himself and then he decided to fall over, see whether he could get a penalty or not, in which unfortunately he did. There was 2 more points dropped, and against West Brom in the game directly after Christmas, where everything just started to go wrong, and the champions Liverpool had all the possession, dominated the game, and so much so they fell asleep with 10 minutes to go and conceded a needless corner, and from that they conceded a goal, and they haven't been right at Anfield since, and we haven't won a game there since the 16th of December against Tottenham Hotspur. It's now April, so yeah, Liverpool are lucky to be in with a chance of the top 4, but hopefully we can go on a run now until the end of the season, and we get our house in order, so to speak, and we give it a right good go again next season, unless we go further in the Champions League, that is, this season, which is highly unlikely. It was a sad state of affairs, really, to be a Liverpool fan yesterday evening, but that's taken nothing away from Real Madrid, who were absolutely brilliant. And yes, one more thing before I go. The mitigating factors which have really led to Liverpool's poor run of form has been the amount of injuries we've had since the start of the season. Like, to lose Van Dijk, Gomez, Henderson, Trent got COVID at some stage. He hasn't really been the same player for a lot of the games since, even though he's shown glimpses. He's been quite wonderful at times this season also, but he just hasn't been himself. And obviously Diego Jota playing in that needless Champions League game back in December where Liverpool had already qualified baffles me, and I reckon if he was on the field in the intervening games, Liverpool would be much further up the league table due to the amount of goals I reckon he would have scored. But at this stage, that's neither here nor there. And yeah, that's basically the spine of a whole team that have tried so hard, that have ran themselves into the floor. And of course, the second factor I'm going to come up with, no fans. Liverpool feed off the atmosphere, feed off the crowd, off the roars of excitement, the anticipation, the encouragement, the songs, and really, God knows what else. Anfield is just a magical place. But this season, we've come to know it as a horrible place, really, since Christmas time, as the games just haven't been enjoyable in any way, shape or form there since then. And the sooner this pandemic ends and fans can get back in that ground, the better, because it'll be onwards and upwards for the mighty Reds. And with that, I'll leave it there. And thank you folks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe and drop a like on the video. It'd be much appreciated. All the best. Take care from Shane.